Shabbat Shalom, everyone, as we are warming up here on the Bima on this auspicious of days. So delighted that you are joining us, those of you who are at home, those of you here in the sanctuary for our intimate Shabbat service tonight. So we begin, as always, with Shalom Aleichem as a way to warm ourselves up, to welcome Shabbat, to sit with each other. And then I am asking, with great pride, our adult Bat Mitzvah class to light our Shabbat candles tonight in honor of their Bat Mitzvah next Shabbat morning. And they will light candles tonight because next weekend we have a double simcha of a baby blessing on Friday night. So let us begin with Shalom Aleichem, page 76.
הקדוש ברוך הוא, בואכם שלום מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון, ממלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, ברכוני לשלום מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון, ממלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש, הקדוש ברוך הוא. צאתכם לשלום מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון, ממלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. שלום עליכם, שלום עליכם, מלאכי השרת, מלאכי עליון, ממלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש, הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Shabbat Shalom all. So Leslie and Sharon and Etty, can I invite you to come and light the candles? And those of you who are at home, feel free to get your candles ready to light, usher in Shabbat. Page 69. Let's stand here in the sanctuary. Amen. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom to the three of you and to all of us. Let's go to Psalm 95. We're on page 70.
La
Shalom, page 71, just a taste of Psalm 96. Shir Ladonai Shir Hadash, Shir Ladonai
Kol haaretz, Shir Ladonai Baruch Hu Shemo, Basru miyom leyom Yeshuato. Let's move to L'Chadodi. We stay seated and stand just for that last verse to welcome Shabbat, welcome each other, maybe welcome someone who's arriving late and gets a tremendous welcome. We are on page, let's do it page 91.
L'Chadodi lekrat kala, b'nei Shabbat lekabbalah. 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 Shemo v'zachor b'dibo echad, Yishmi'anu echad yuchad, Adonai echad u'shmo echad, L'shem el tifaret v'letila. L'Chadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat lekabbalah. L'Chadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat lekabbalah. Hiturori, hibarechu, uri, shidur yir, kavod Adonai alayich niglach. L'Chadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat lekabbalah. L'Chadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat lekabbalah. Ba'oi v'shalom ateret bala, gam b'simcha otzot hola, toch emuna yom sugula, ba'oi chala, ba'oi chala. L'Chadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat lekabbalah. L'Chadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat lekabbalah.
Let's go straight into the Baruch Hu, our public call to prayer.
Baruch Hu et Adonai, Hamevorach, Hamevorach. Baruch Adonai, Hamevorach. Le'olam, le'olam va'ed. Praise be the one to whom all praise is due. Praise be the one to whom all praise is due. Praise be the one to whom all praise is due. Now and forever. La 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 la
Please feel free to sit down. The blessings before the Shema remind us of our universal place in the world, perhaps in relation to God, however we define that most intimate of relationships, the one that sees us in the natural world and how we benefit from the passage of seasons, the movement of light, and then going into the one of intense and more intimate love and how we understand our faith, our tradition, the minutiae of laws to be an expression of love. Let's read together in English at the top of page 93 before we sing Ahavat Olam. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chokhmah poter sha'arim, ובתבונה משנה עיתים, ומחליף את הזמנים, ומסדר את הכוכבים במשמרותיה, ברקיע כרצונו, בורא יום ולילה, גוללו מפני חושך, וחושך מפני אור, ומעביר יום ומביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו, ברוך אתה אדוני, המעריב ערבים. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Sitting in your house, when you're walking by the way, setting up, and you shall write them on the doors of your house and upon your gates, upon your gates. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai, Adonai Echad.
Top of page 95, as we're reminded why we remain connected. Laman tizkaru vasitem et kol mitzvotai titem kadoshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hoseti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Emet ve'emunah kol zot. All this we hold to be true and sure. You alone, Eternal One, are our God, and we are Israel, your people. You freed us from oppressors, delivered us from tyrants. You led us out of Egypt forever to serve you in freedom. When we witnessed your power, we praised your name and gave thanks. Willingly, we accepted your rule, and then full of joy, we sang together. ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני גאל Yisrael. We offer every week Hashkivenu, the prayer for peace in our home, the hope that we might be shielded from sickness, from war, from famine and distress, and from all wrongdoing. But we are reminded that it is merely a plea, and that this prayer centers around the idea of Sukkat Shalom, a sukkah of peace. And we know from our experience of Sukkot that a sukkah is a very impermanent structure, that it does not keep out the rain and the wind and all things difficult. So in a sense, this prayer offers a very human comprehension that none of us are able to be free from all of that. We can only hope for the strength to manage it.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu LaShalom v'hamidenu Malkeinu l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu LaShalom v'hamidenu Malkeinu l'chaim.
Baruch atah Adonai hapores sukat shalom aleinu v'al kol yoshvei tevel. So let's stand for the tefillah, the Amidah. We're on page 97.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Hasadim Tovim, Konei Hakol, Shtei Avot ve'Imahot, Umevi Gula Livnei V'neihem, Lama'an Shemo B'Yahava, Melech Ozer Moshiach Magen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Vezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor Leolam Adonai, Mechaye Metim Atah Rav Lohoshia, Mashiv HaRuach Umorid HaGeshem, Mazriach HaShemesh Umorid HaTal, Mechakel Chayim Bechesed, Mechaye Metim Barachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim V'Rofer Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato Lishnei Afar, Mi Chamocha Ba'al Gvorot, Umi Dome Lach, Melech Meimit Umachaye Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman Ata Lehachayot Metim, Baruch Atah Adonai, Machaye HaMetim. You are holy, awesome is your name. We have no God but you. We praise you, Eternal One, the Holy God. Let's sit down for V'shamru.
V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדור את הברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדור את הברית עולם. בני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדור את הברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדור את הברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדור את הברית עולם.
Baruch Atah Adonai, Makadesh HaShabbat. We praise you, God, for the holiness of Shabbat. Eternal God, be gracious to your people Israel, and in your love accept their prayers. May our worship now and always be acceptable in your sight. Baruch Atah Adonai, she'otecha levadacha b'yira na'avot. And together, as we offer a moment of appreciation, of thanksgiving, I'm so aware of all the street parties all over London and the whole country today, and that sense of just longevity moves us, and so does a sense of fidelity and what it means to live in this country, I guess. So feel free, those of you who are at home, to share something you feel particularly appreciative for. Modim anachnu lach, she'ata hu Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu le'olam va'ed. Tzur chayenu, magen nishenu, ata hu lado vado, nodeh lecha נספר תהילתך, על היינו המסורים בידיך, ועל נשמותינו הפקודות לך, ועל ניסיך שבכל יום עמנו, ועל נפלותיך וטובותיך, שבכל עת ערב ובוקר וצהריים. ברוך אתה אדוני, הטוב שמך, ולך נאה להודות.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasihim Le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasihim Le'olam. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasihim Le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasihim Le'olam. L'tov beinecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasihim Le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasihim Le'olam. Tasihim Le'olam. Tasihim Le'olam.
Baruch atah Adonai, Oseh HaShalom. So I invite us to take a moment for silent prayer, for reflection, for us to just decompress after the week that we've had, however it has been for us. And I can't help but share with you, as we finish counting the Omer tomorrow night, as we come into Shavuot, those 7 weeks, 49 days that take us literally from that story, the myth that we carry of becoming free, to really the story, the myth that builds us into a people, that we aligned ourselves as a congregation and we received laws to live by, to enable each other. And we know that the Ten Commandments, 5 really between each person and God and 5 between us and our fellow, of just how we live our life and who we live it with, is so much about what our message of Judaism is. So this week's portion, before we get to Shavuot, is Parashat Nasso. And in the middle of Nasso, with these strange descriptions of the Nazarite, Samson was a Nazarite, of the vows of abstinence and asceticism, which is not very Jewish at all, in between that and the laws of adultery and terrible things about how to trick women into agreeing that they had been adulterous, and just an awful section of Torah, frankly, is a tiny bit where we get the priestly blessing that Natasha will sing for and with us at the end of the service. And that priestly blessing, known very well to all of us. There is actually another version. When the Dead Sea Scrolls was found and a version was found in the 1970s on silver scrolls, it was a slightly different version. And I want to share that version of the priestly blessing that we're so familiar with. But this slightly different version really speaks to allowing Judaism, the blessing, the tradition of Judaism, to impact and inform and inspire the way we live in all parts of our lives. May God bless you with all good and keep you from all evil. May God teach your heart the meaning of life and grant you knowledge of the infinite. May God reach out to you in tenderness, that you may have enduring peace.
ratzon imrefi v'heyon libi lefanecha Adonai sori Adonai sori v'go ali v'go ali Oh, say shalom, shalom, bimromav, Huya, say shalom aleinu, ve'al Yisrael, va'imru amen. Huya, say shalom aleinu, ve'al Yisrael, amen. Oh, say shalom, shalom, bimromav, Huya, say shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, amen.
Thank you, Natasha. Let us go to page 520 as we go to Aleinu, imagining the seeds we plant in our Jewish life will one day harvest a better world. Page 520.
Aleinu l'shabeach laton hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, אשר שם מלכנו לייחד את שמו, וגור עלינו להמליך מלכותו. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זר בגובהי מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום וחשבות אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד.
ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. Just before we go to Kaddish and to thinking of those who are mourning this week, I would like to share the prayer on behalf of our liberal rabbis movement to mark the Queen's Platinum Jubilee. Eternal God, whose dominion embraces the universe, we stand before you in gratitude and thanksgiving to ask for your blessing for our Sovereign Lady, Queen Elizabeth, whose 70-year jubilee we celebrate today. In those years, she served her people with enduring devotion and grace, uniting races, creeds, and tongues with outstretched hand and cheerful countenance. You've endowed her with wisdom and discretion, with dignity and strength of purpose, In times of turmoil and distress, she sought comfort from her faith and led by example, speaking truth, abiding by her oath of majesty, accepting the discipline of her sovereignty, and serving God with humility and intent. God grant her health and well-being. May she find peace and tranquility in the coming years and contentment in the knowledge she has worked with abiding and conscientious duty for the good of her people. May her example guide the leaders of this country with integrity and truth, promoting freedom, justice, and righteousness so that all may be blessed with prosperity and peace. Blessed is the Eternal One, God of all humanity, who alone does wondrous things. Blessed is God's glorious name forever, whose glory fills the whole world. Amen and amen. So we remain standing for Yahrzeit. As we begin recalling those in our congregation who are marking and remembering a Yahrzeit of a loved one, I need and want to share the death of a member in the wider liberal community, in particular LJY Netzer. So we mourn together the death of Zohar Collins, an LJY leader, madrich, member of South London Liberal Synagogue, who died tragically in an accident this week. We think of those in our own congregation who are marking a Yahrzeit this Shabbat and who turn their hearts and minds towards their loved ones. We think particularly David Aarons, husband of Beverly, of Irma Carton, mother of Marianne, of Benny Press, father of Nicola Marzell, of Mark Morrison, father of Dorothy Hill, and Eva Morrison, mother of Dorothy Hill, of Sammy Sofizard, husband of Nelica, whose first Yahrzeit falls this Shabbat, and of Mark Solomons, father of Brian Solomons. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be for a blessing, and may those who recall, remember, and mourn their loved ones be comforted in their loss as we say the words of Kaddish with them. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, bi'amad divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'hayechon v'yomechon, uv'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, b'agala v'zman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam omei omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ah v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitada v'yitale v'talal shemei d'kudasha brichu. Leila min kol berchata v'tishirata. Tushbachata v'nechemata. Da'amiram bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama Rabba min shamaya. V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. V'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav. Hu yaseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. V'al kol b'nei Adam. V'imru amen. So feel free to stay standing or to sit as we allow ourselves to be blessed by that priestly blessing that can be found in our portion this week. You can follow at least the beginning or the second part on page 563, and maybe we'll pass around wine and challah now so that everyone has and we're able to fall straight into Kiddush.
Ephra, Berim V'chim Menashe. Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, Leah. V'yarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chulecha. Yisar Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. V'yarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. V'ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chunecha. Yisar Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. V'yasem lecha shalom. V'yasem lecha shalom.
Beautiful, Natasha, beautiful. Thank you so much. And thank you to David and Michael for enabling you at home and us here to be a congregation together. Thank you to AC for hosting. And let us stand now and with Kiddush. I can't see if you've got challah. Have you got challah? Oh, you've got challah as well. So tomorrow night will be Shavuot. So tonight is the last night of the Omer, completing the last week, the week of Malchut, of majesty, of splendor, of all things that we work towards, and with that rather nice coincidence, allowing it to fall this weekend. Most of us rabbis are rather sorry that the Jubilee weekend has fallen on Shavuot, and we wonder how our numbers will be affected, but certainly the idea of Malchut, of majesty, being the last of the Sephirot, of God's ways that we talk about God and that we attain in our own lives. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sefirat ha'omer. Today is the 49th day of the Omer, which is 7 weeks. Let's go straight into Kiddush. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava v'ratzon hinchilanu zikor lama'aseh v'reshit ki hu yom tehila lemikrayei kodesh Zecher letziat Mitzrayim Ki banu v'charta V'otanu kidashta Michol ha'amim V'shabbat kodshecha B'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen. And tonight I think we have Eti's challah, not even Shmuel's this week, but Eti. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shalom.
Beautiful.